Well, hello. Since we used up all our class time talking about the Odyssey and looking at our papers, and since two of you were absent, I thought I would send by video the Lost Tools curriculum lesson plan. So you can watch this, take notes, but it should help you be able to complete the assignments, okay? Today, the first thing I want to do is review narratio. And you know narratio comes from the word narrate, which a narrative or a narration is basically a synonym for story, right? It's a sequence of events arranged in a way that makes sense and kind of shows cause and effect. For us, narratio is an arrangement element, and we use it in the introduction, right? You can do narratio anytime that you're telling stories, cause and effect, and sort of summarizing an incident that happened. It's a narrative, right? But we want to use it in the introduction, and there's some special things about that we want to review. A narratio is basically an explanation of the situation. It starts with the setting, which is the time and place. It includes the main actors. It includes the actions that led up to the issue being considered and the dilemma that the person in the issue is facing right now. So an example that I would give you is, what if I came up to you and said, "Should I go to the party?" You would be like, "Well, I don't really know. Can you tell me a little more about it? Where is the party at? And when is the party?" And I could say, "Well, it's tomorrow, but it's in South Dakota." Oh, all of a sudden you have all kinds more context for helping me make this decision than you had before. If I act, then next you would say, well, who's going to be at the party? And so it helps you to understand if the main actors in the party are people that I don't really know, or maybe they're people that I need to meet to fund a project that I have, or maybe it happens to be my mother, right? That would help you to know. So we're going to say that it's a party, that it's in South Dakota, that it's tomorrow, and that it's my mother is going to be there. It's for my mother. And so you're going to say, well, why? What led up to this event? What caused this party to be thrown? And so if I said, well, my mom is having a Tupperware party and she wants me to come buy stuff, that's a little different than if you found out it's her 70th birthday and it's a surprise arranged by my last minute father who just let me know, okay? But the dilemma that I'm facing is, should I go to the party or not? Well, now you have enough context, or you have enough background information to have an intelligent conversation with me about whether or not I should go, okay? So that's what a narratio is. It's the same in literature, too. So, well, first I want to do this part. Why? Why do you have a narratio? Well, we've already established that a narratio in the introduction. So yeah, why a narratio in intro? Let's ask that question. Because it gives context. It gives background information. The other reason why you would want to have a narratio is because it establishes ethos, which is a fancy way of saying it gives you, the writer, credibility as an intelligent, reasonable person who knows what they're talking about. And then the final reason why you should do it is because it's setting you up to persuade. The whole purpose of this essay is to convince your reader to hold the same position that you do. You want to prove and support and persuade them to your thesis statement. And this helps set you up to win with that. Okay? And so then the question is how? How do you do it? Well, before you write the narratio for your paper, you have to have chosen your thesis. If you don't have a main point or a main argument that you're trying to prove, you don't know what background information to include. It's not that generic. It has to be very specific. The next thing that you need to do is to describe the situation. And so that means that you have to say what the setting is. So I'm going to say for my setting, I'm going to take Homer's Odyssey, right? And for my setting, I'm going to say, I need an issue. Sorry, first I need an issue. My issue is going to be considering whether Athene, remember Athene? Did she do the wrong thing? Was she wrong to influence Zeus to bring Odysseus home. So this is the issue that I'm considering. And so now I have to pick some things that happened. This happened on Mount Olympus, right, where Athene convinced Zeus. What are some things that happened before that that would give enough background information for my reader to understand what I'm talking about as I lay out the proofs in my paper? So for the setting, I might choose Mount Olympus, where all the gods are visiting. But I'm probably more apt to choose something before that. I think I'm going to choose the island of Calypso. So on Calypso's island, the actors are Calypso and Odysseus, okay? And there's some actions that are leading up to this. And one of them is that Odysseus is crying every day. Even though a beautiful goddess is in love with him and he has no work and a life of leisure, he wants to get off the island. He's crying to go home to his wife and his son. Well, what happened before that? Well, before that, I think someone got mad at him. One of the gods was mad at him and caused him to be shipwrecked on this island. What happened before that? Well, before that, he helped Agamemnon and King Menelaus win the war against the Trojans. So those are some things that happened before that. But the dilemma now is, he's stuck on this island, should we help him get off or not? So once I've done the setting, the time and the place, I've done the actors, mostly Odysseus, and then I've done the causes that lead up to it, and I've stated what the dilemma is. It's probably going to be too long, right? So the other thing I have to do is I have to make choices. Only choose what is essential for the reader to understand, to have just enough background information. And so there are other things that happened before he got stuck on that island, right? For example, Paris stole Queen Helen from Menelaus and brought her over to Troy. And Agamemnon saw an opportunity to make money, and so he went around convincing everybody that could be their battle cry. Let's go back and get Helen. And he made Odysseus go. So those are other actions, but they're not really essential to understanding this particular dilemma. So I would leave them out. They're not illuminating or essential. And then the final thing that I have to do is to put it in order. Choose essential causes. Sometimes it's really hard to think of what the essential causes are, and I think what helps the most is to go backwards. So before Athene influenced Zeus to bring Odysseus home, what happened before that? Well, before that, what's his name? Odysseus left, not Homer. Odysseus left home. He went to fight in a battle. Or you could say, what happened before that? Well, he got stuck on this island. Well, what happened before that? You just keep working your way backwards to figure out what the actions or causes were. But then once you have them, you have to put them in the correct order. And then you have your lovely narratio for your introduction, and you can launch into your proofs, and your reader will know what you're talking about. So that's the basic review of narratio. In the next video, we're going to refine the narratio specifically for a judicial essay.